Welcome to AI Watch. My name is Björn. I'm the Chief Data Scientist in 2021 AI, and today I have with me Abhishek, who is a professional AI risk advisor. Abhishek, welcome to AI Watch.
Thank you, Brad.
With Abhishek being a risk management professional and myself being a trained data scientist, that would in a lot of organizations clash, or at least needs to be a bit aligned in some cases. Abhishek, in your work, when do you need input from data scientists? What is important in the collaboration for you?
I think I would like to underline that the collaboration and the input from data science is crucial. If we are all expected to develop responsible AIs and the vehicle for that is risk management, then the role of data scientists in this is crucial. It's very, very important. So yes, I by far need the data scientists.
So have you then, like we said, that's very crucial, right? There are probably certain risks where you as a risk professional needs a bit more input from data science than in others. Are there some specific risks that you say is quite important to collaborate on?
I think there are 4 areas or 5 areas where the involvement of data scientists is crucial. Bias and everything that has to do with bias and fairness. Both identifying what kind of biases a model or how and where is it that fairness can become an issue. I think performance is very, very important because AI models who perform badly in just terms of even stability could lead to bad results and or bad predictions and generations, and so that's another very important area. Accuracy, which goes very much hand in hand also with performance. I think is a safety. It's a big topic also on the regulatory agenda, and of course definitely a precondition for any kind of responsible AI. And then of course there's the security domain, which is not exclusive for data scientists only, but data scientists would have a strong influence and say in the security risk assessment of an AI. So yeah, definitely, and I can see very specific and clear role for a data scientist.
I'm happy to hear that, because I mean most of the things you mentioned are obviously statistical measures where data science is or should be, good data science should be very swift in responding on how to measure certain things. I think coming from my perspective also I could add that where you would request information from data scientists and would like to understand them a bit more, data scientists obviously would also like to get some more input from risk management on what is actually expected, right? Because we have the toolkit on the statistics and how to measure things, but we're not necessarily having transparency in the regulation, what is required when of us, for which model. I think that could be a very neat way also to, exchange knowledge a bit more. So data science know what to focus on actually.
And if you and I needed to go to do a risk assessment or tomorrow, I would split the process into 3, and I would very much like the data science team to be engaged in all 3. Mm-hmm. The first one is establishing the context. I think the first part is really together understanding the use case. What are the use case limits? What are where is it that there's different restrictions? Maybe I can come with restrictions that come from the law or from other frameworks or requirements, and there are other restrictions that are technical. Those needs to be baked into the context of this risk assessment that we're doing. We have the business context. We are operating normally in some kind of a for-profit setup, and then there's the model context, and this is where data scientists will sure play a big role in what kind of model are we making. That also the detrimental effect on what kind of risks to expect, and of course how to measure them and how to monitor them. So I think that's the first step, would be establishing the context. and then would go directly, directly into identifying those specific risks with this context in mind. So we know what is the model use case and the business and what the model is about, and then we go into looking at, okay, so what can go, where is that we may meet some challenges with bias and safety and so on with that in mind. Then the last phase I believe in is security risk assessment, which is separate risk assessment. It's a very, very important one. And for that, we can talk about for a whole hour just on that. So,
well, of course, and when it comes to stage 2, there might be different types of models, different, classification models, LLMs, whatever, and you might measure things very different, right? So that will also require quite some more time to go into depth, and I think that will be future discussions that we should maybe have.
Every risk needs to be monitored. Every risk needs to be measured, and then it needs to be monitored. What is the most efficient way to measure? Is there a technical way? Is there an automated way to measure that risk, either on the likelihood of that or the impact of it? And is there a way to monitor this risk efficiently? That is not, manually going and poking the shoulder of a data scientist and asking what's going on with your fairness parameters or whatever. Is there a way to get more precise and more efficient on both the measurement and the monitoring of risk, specifically monitoring? I think many risks, generally in technology risk management, monitoring of risk is a challenge because it can be very, very detailed and very, very technical. It requires technical skills, and AI is no different. It's technology risk domain. So it's the same problem, just with a very, very niche kind of. I think the world has learned how to monitor database performance and other things. There's a lot of tools for that. But in AI, it's not as mature and as established as it is in other technology.
Yeah, and monitoring is one thing, and then the other thing where, again, I think collaboration is very key on that, is that you also need to find what is the right threshold of the things. Like how much bias, let's say, bias is in every machine learning model, right? There's statistical patterns, and that's how machine learning works. So the question is then, which bias do we accept, to which extent, and which bias do we not accept in which current use case? So I think there's definitely a lot to discuss. And if you're wondering how to do that in more depth, right, Avishai and I will have a course as a little teaser in the autumn of this year. So if you're interested in that, check in the description below. Otherwise, I would thank you very much, Avishai, for being here with me today. Thank you for your interesting insights and comments. And for you, looking forward to seeing you next time for AI Watch. Thank you for watching.